I am so glad that we are all here, and I am so honored that Mr. Sabiti is with us. There can't be a vision. This gentleman is quite one with faith. You know, if you have little faith, you better get married to one who has bigger faith. Because if you ever make a mistake of getting married to someone who has lesser faith, and your faith is also a bit shaky, then I don't know where you're going to end. But he sees possibilities in everything. So thank you so much. Your faith has made it possible that we are in this place. Ladies and gentlemen, it costs money to be here. And he pays the money for us to be here. So that I don't take that lightly, that we can be able to gather. Let me tell you, my coming up and growing, it's through the seminars and the conferences that I went through relentlessly. Okay? So tonight, I just want us to talk about three things. Three things. With everything that we have talked about, and I want to first read this piece. Let me see, where did I put it? Matthew 15. I want to give this as a foundation for what I'm going to talk about, because I found it so relevant, and that is why I want to give it to you. You will know them by their fruits. That means every human being is a tree. And that tree must bear fruits. And the fruits have a taste. Some of them are bitter. Some of them are sweet. Some of them are sour. Some of them are chili. Some of them, as in there are so many. Some of them even have a tingling kind of feeling. Now, there is a difference between the taste of a good mango and a bad mango. And there's also a difference between an orange and a lemon. So if the Bible says that you will see them by their... Let me tell you, relationships, when it comes to relationships, relationship management is life management. It is not just relationship management. Relationship management is life management. And even if you want to grow in purpose, you can never grow in purpose for as long as you're getting relationships wrong. You can never grow in your Christianity walk or your religious walk for as long as you're getting relationships wrong. Why? Because relationships are emotional. Yes, we can choose, and I have chosen at some point and said, you know what, let me put this aside, let me take my growth journey, but you realize that even when you try to dodge it, you will find it somewhere. All right? You will find it somewhere. So it's better to actually get the knowledge and say, I'm not putting it aside. I am not trashing it. I am not saying that it's the worst thing that has ever happened. I'm not saying relationships are the worst thing and all people in the world are the dogs. No. But maybe I am choosing to say, this is not my time because of the things that I have gone through, but I can get all the knowledge that I need to get. I can try to grow in other areas, but when I come back, I must be able to face my demon again and be able to conquer it. So whichever time, even if you're going to date after 5 years, even if you're going to marry after 2 years, even if you're going to make that decision to actually get back into the dating game, because some of you, your hearts are in space. You have unanswered questions. And COVID made it worse. Because then the world was torn apart. Everyone is more on their phone. Businesses are more on their phones. These days, meetings. The reasons as to why we fight every month to have this meeting is to make sure that we have an in-person energy rubbing against energy. Because when you are on call, it's possible you are somewhere naked, you are just there shaking your leg, you're in the darkness peeping, sometimes you don't want to put on your picture, sometimes you listen to everyone and you're like, Obabo Gerachi. Let me tell you, a meeting can go on for 2 hours and you have picked nothing on Zoom. So when it comes to the world of relationships, a lot was torn apart. We are trying to rebuild ourselves from scratch. But if you do not have, number one, that discernment to differentiate between a wolf and a sheep. Because most of the times, the wolves will come in sheep's clothes. Not everyone that is a narcissist will come and tell you, hey baby, I am a narcissist, so can you date me? No one has a signpost that they are narcissist. No one has a signpost that they are toxic. No one has a signpost that they beat people. No one has a signpost of all the bad things that you have ever. So no one should ever lie to you that, you know what, just by looking at someone you can be able to dodge all the bad characters. No. Now, discernment, according to the description of the Bible, it means to understand and to know something through the power of God, as in, it's not just you. There is something inside of you that informs you. And I think you have seen it, where you tell a good person whether they are good or not without even speaking to them. Your body testifies. You feel something about them. Even when someone is dangerous, sometimes that is where I've told people, stop forcing children to be carried by people they don't want to be carried by. Your cousin comes and the child runs. But you're like, but it's your auntie. Let your aunt carry you. No. Her body is reading a certain energy, a certain vibration, and she's not comfortable being there. Leave her alone. And the same happens to us because we have been taught for so long to override our emotions. We have been taught so long to silence how we feel because we have been taught that how we feel does not matter. But I'm telling you today, how you feel matters, and how your body feels matters. If your body wants to take off, take off. If your body tells you you are not safe, you are not safe. If your mind tells you you are not loved, there is something that is not adding up. Investigate. Okay? Because there is a time I say that feelings are not supposed to be in the driver's seat, but feelings are not supposed to, to make you just make the random decisions, but they are indicators. Indicators. There's a time I was driving and all of a sudden, the car had all these, sirens. It's warning about brakes. It's warning about everything. Definitely had triggered something. And when with the Benzes, they will scream about everything, even the silliest thing. So the alarm came. Drive to the workshop. Do not stop. Do not. And I was like, you know what? With all this kind of screaming at me in the car, I'm not concentrating and I'm in traffic. Let me park. And I knew, because when I called him, he was like, it will not start. And indeed, it could not start. Because the alarm told me, the indicator told me, drive to the garage, straight. Do not stop. Because if you stop, I'm not going to start again. I am safeguarding you. So indicators are supposed to show us that there is something wrong. We should be running to the garage. We should be running to a counselor. We should be running to a coach or to someone that we think is going to help us. But what have we been taught? Because whenever you said something when you were young, you were told, keep quiet. You don't know what you're talking about. So you have been taught through class, secondary, through university, through primary, that you must keep quiet. Your feelings do not matter. You came here to study. That is the only thing that you came here to do. You are at university, your parent paid tuition, so you came here to give them results. So we have been taught, giving them results is not bad, but we have been taught to silence how we feel in our body. Now, discernment, God does not come with a strong voice. No. God will use your body to communicate to you. And I was giving a testimony for those of you that will watch the Monday program. And I say that for the past 3 weeks, I took May to rest and to actually seek God, to fast and pray. And because I felt there is another dimension, there is another level. I have not arrived. I feel I want to get into another dimension. And I felt like, I was just going in circles. And one day, I just felt, the whole week, I just felt, I am just tired. I'm exhausted. I don't want to wake up. I don't want to do. And I think I even shared it with the people that came for the Friday lessons. And one morning, just my body, a voice in yourself speaking and said that, stop whining, do something. When you speak to yourself, as in, stop whining, do something. If you can change a situation, change it. Stop talking about it and stop just whispering about it and whimpering about it and, feeling sorrowful about it and feeling you have no power to do it. Stop whining. Do something. Let me tell you, I woke up with a kind of energy that I have never understood. I didn't even tell him that I had gone into a fast more than 24 hours. You know? I got a headache. I became like I was very sick. I could not even do anything. I turned to my family, but I was like, you know what? I am sticking in there. I am praying. I will be strong, but I am seeking the same God that called me and placed me in this position to lead other people. I cannot lead you if I am not way ahead. I cannot lead you if I don't know where I'm taking you. So I need to be on another level, on another dimension. Now, that is discernment. That God speaks to you, and God is not a segregator of human beings. He does not separate that I love so-and-so and I speak to so-and-so. No, he does not separate. So, number one is discernment. Okay? That, to understand through the power of God, it includes perceiving the true character of people and the source of meaning of spiritual manifestations. Now, let's take the true character of people. Because we will know them by their fruit. Fruit is character. Where there is patience, you will test that this is patience. Has someone ever been too patient to you and you were like, what kind of person is this? Has someone ever loved you and you were like, and then has someone ever disgusted you and you felt like, if I had the power? Yeah? Oh, you feel, because you have the power. Sometimes, by the way, there are certain calls that you never pick because they have bad energy. Just when you speak to that person, you feel like your whole world has turned upside down. Why? There is nothing bad they told you, but it's just bad energy. I think we've all faced it at some point. Okay? So discernment. Discernment protects your peace. Discernment creates better relationships, loving relationships. And discernment rebukes in politeness and love. Okay? Discernment does not seek to be rude. No, discernment seeks to create boundaries, and that is number two. Discernment seeks to create boundaries. And what are the boundaries? We have sexual boundaries. Who do you give your body to? Do you just open your legs to anyone? If you're a man, do you just pump anyone? What exactly are you looking for? You must have a boundary that not everyone, like it's sacred. Sex must be sacred. It must be guarded. It must be held with the highest kind of regard that not just everyone. No, not everyone should see your nakedness. That is why, if you're still in the dating scene, and for you, you're saying, oh, my body is burning, it's okay. It will burn for Dick, and it will burn for Harry, and it will burn for Alex, and then it will burn for who? As Abdallah, and who? And Sam. And then just imagine, you're coming, the city regular on your own kwanjula, nayenga abalinga kumi. They all saw your nakedness. Ngojanza siri regular bogira kakondo woohoo bogira ogenda kulaba Samu wali Alex wali Gundi wali and you're like ndoza bagamba are you sure you're not regular? Are you sure? Some of these games we play on ourselves. I think in the mentorship I told you that the things that you are doing right now will come back haunting you. You know, there is lifting a microphone, handling a microphone and saying something, and the world is saying, you're not telling us anything. Okay? So if you are a destiny helper, if you ever have a destiny to help people, you help people by keeping your life and having the discernment to create boundaries, and one of them is the sexual boundary. Your time. There is time boundaries. You know, sometimes we talk about boundaries and we never know what kind of boundaries to set. Who receives your time? There are people who are not supposed to receive your time. You're not supposed to bless them with your time. Let me tell you, even if you have nothing to do, go back home and read. Go back, sign up for a new course. As in, get something to plunge your mind. Let me tell you, even when I am busy, like last Monday when we were in that meeting, I made it a must that, you know what, I am together with the people that I work with, and I am going to go and enjoy the banter. It was very intentional for me, because if in that time I didn't feel like doing that, if the banter started, I would just move away, and maybe I would know, this is my sacred time, I need to do something else. But in that time I felt, you know what, I need to be able to collaborate with the people that I work with and dive into it. So, who gets your time? We have financial boundaries. Okay? We have so many boundaries, because time wasters, because what we are doing about discernment is time wasters steal your time, they steal your treasure, and they steal your talent. They waste your time. The treasure is, time is money. Okay? And then the treasure that you can't be creative while someone is wasting your time. You can't be creative. How many of you have ever been in relationships and you felt like you have lost yourself? Totally. You were a genius before you entered a relationship, and all of a sudden, you have become a rug. Like no one has declared you a rug. But just by the virtue of the fact that you're in that relationship, you declare yourself. As in, you cease, you procrastinate on everything, you even let yourself go. Even a person who used to dress well, you no longer dress well. Even a person, as in Kwegamba, you are confusion. Like, your time, your everything, okay? Sometimes it takes for you to recollect yourself, because some seasons make us quite, everywhere and mixed up. But sometimes it takes for you to recollect yourself, and sometimes reflecting. Some of us love being in relationships without thinking about the relationships we are in, because we can never work on something that we are not thinking about. So, number 3, reflect. Have a time. Instead of kunyumirwa, tugenda, tukumba, seyeya, tugenda, relationship is about everyone must be in a relationship. No, there are certain seasons where you were not supposed to be in a relationship. Yes. When I went through the roughest patch of my life, and I was going through the roughest heartbreak of my life, up to now I thank God that I went through that heartbreak, because I bounced back better than I have ever been in my life. Okay? So, reflection. I want you to it takes boldness to pause. Okay? Take a pause. Stop running. We are chasing so many things. We are chasing after being loved. We are chasing after pleasing people. We are chasing after, we are chasing after and some of us, when you see a wig, you're like, Mama, I wish I could have that one. I think I will look more beautiful. When you see now these days, when you see a certain kitchen, you also want to build a certain kitchen. How many of you want to build Instagram kitchens? How many of you want to buy glass kettles? How many of you want to buy glass frying pans that you saw on Nancy who? Cooking Nance. Mama, I saw a frying pan and I was like, Mama. I was like, let me tell you, if we start chasing things, hey, we will chase endlessly. Is it good or kwegomba? Yes. As in wegomba, how many of us have pictures that we have no business having in our phone? Screenshots. What have you ever bought? Every time you're like, let me keep it near, let me keep it here, I will see it. But that day you screenshot it is the last day you actually saw it. So some of you have millions of them, thousands of them. I'm guilty. Yeah, because I do it all the time. Okay? Now, it takes boldness to pause and say, through the month of May, I cut off my nails. I went back to, being natural. And I was like, I just want, if some of you that found me in the month of May, I took a real rest. Like it was a real rest. But it takes boldness to say, you know what, I am just going back into my authenticity. I am listening to my body. What's this season? What is God telling me? Let me tell you, God does not speak in chaos. You are running and chasing after everything. You're hearing noises. There are notifications coming in from everywhere. You're chasing after likes and following and everything. You're like, I'm not speaking in that chaos, because you're not going to listen to me. Okay? So, take a bold pause. Even in your career life, take a bold pause, because the things that I'm talking about is not just these normal relationships, okay? The intimate relationships, even other relationships, friendships, and all that. So I want you to take a bold pause, a courageous pause that is going to launch you into a major dimension of good intimacy, okay? Of good closeness, of growth in your relationship, or opening your heart again, you know? When you don't have to love because, oh, Baba Jakundeka, oh no, you love because you love, okay? So I want you to take those three things. When it says here that you will tell them, let's just read it and finish it, that beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing. Now, take away prophets and replace them with people. Okay? So that means that at all costs, there are certain people that you should stay away from. There are certain things that you should stay away from. Certain relationships, after you've gone through discernment in a relationship, before even marriage, you are allowed to say never. Some of us, we are clinging to people that we are not supposed to be with 10 years from now. That we are not supposed to be with 15 years from now. But we are clinging to them. And we are like, my mama, enemotoka njajigwa chabugazi, njajikanika, love tebajikanika. Love tebajikola chi? Togena kwambala overall ogwe wanso jikanike. No. Bweba tekula tekula. Jiveko. You don't have spare parts. Okukanika, akuba. Ntikakati munange kamuchu saleme kuba. Ntiate ono is very toxic, very manipulative, and a liar and a cheat, all in one person. There are people who are super gifted in badness. And you can actually tell that this is a combo disaster. Like it's a combo, not just one. You know there is a demon coming and then there is a legion coming. Some of you are housing legions. Now, let me tell you. Vada kwebyo byonna simanyi bukodo simanyi bichibichi waliwo ebintu nga biri quite above, even you cannot even dig the nitty-gritties of bukodo and everything. It's good to see those things, but let me tell you, listen to your body while you are with someone, a relationship that is meant to last. Even when we took different ways, I will tell you for a fact, God spoke to me about us being together. And I didn't dare tell him. I went on and even dated other people. Like in my heart, I was like, God, you have no business talking to me and not talking to another person. I'm not the kind who is going to kukanika relationships. And guess what? He was my friend, even in that season. I would have easily gone to him, and he was a man of God. I would have easily gone to him. You know, God is telling me, and you know, God is telling me. You get it? Because God speaks in so many ways. Not a voice of coming, but you know, having the confirmation, the witness deep down in your heart that you find safety. And I knew for sure that he found safety with me. And so I knew that we were taking parallel lines, but we belonged together. But I did not pull him close. No. I matched, I had my own harambe. I was like, you know what? Let me have the fun of my life. Definitely, with the tears, with asking God how, and then sometimes toughening up, chasing my purpose and doing my things. And then when he would see I'm running very fast, I think he would be like, kende zako, you know? And we're both pursuing our purposes, you know, doing things that we had to do in the kingdom, in workplaces, in everything that we were doing. But I had the witness inside of me. That's why when he came back to me and told me that this is what I feel, my body, with all the anger of don't waste my time, I was like, no, please. And then when I went to the sacred chamber to face myself and my own demons, yeah, sometimes we have to face ourselves. It's like, am I making the right decision? Am I making this decision for the world, or am I making it for me? Where do I want to be in the next 5 years? With a man who loves me, who respects me, who is loyal to me, and who is a leader in my life, who is a priest in my home, someone I can submit to for the rest of my life. Some of us, we are not even submissive to someone because deep down in your heart is repelling. Your body is repelling. It's telling you, no, we are not submitting. So even when you kneel, your heart is standing up. So when I asked myself, what exactly do I need? The kind of ministry that I have and the calling that I have on my life. What kind of man is going to understand me better than my husband? That I'm going to be invited to the USA and I will be there for a week and I have to cross from the US, go to Nairobi, finish another conference, and I have to maybe crisscross to Burundi before I come back home. Who else is going to understand me apart from my best friend, who I've held hands and prayed with, who has wished me well and who has pushed me all this while? And I said, God, I am doing this for me, I am doing this for you, and I'm not doing this for anyone else. So some of us, ask yourself, what exactly do you want? Can you pause from the chaos of the world and listen to your body? Can you pause? Cut off everything that you need to cut off. This is not a season for you to lift heavy things and carry them. And in a minute, I want us to go into the questions and answers because I might speak forever. But at least you've understood. You will know them by their fruit. When you see a fruit, when someone gives you lemons, never say, I'm going to pray for them so that next time they can bear oranges. My friend, you're wasting God's time and you're wasting your time, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, let's join our hands and welcome Mr. Sabiti.
Wow. Interesting, really interesting. Thank you so much, Hilda. The panel, thank you. The gents and the ladies, thank you. You did a great job. Hilda, thank you. You've done so well. I personally appreciate God. I thank God so much for my woman. I thank God for my wife. And I usually say, thank God I married well. It's my prayer for the singles that have been here. I pray that you'll find the right woman. When you marry well, you sleep well. Okay? You don't get nightmares of cows chasing you. Okay, now, with the sessions, we're talking about relationships. I'm just going to talk about two things. And what I'm going to talk about, I've picked from what you guys were saying. I've just picked from what you guys were saying here. The lot with OJ, and then the lot that OJ and Masanyu and Levi, and then the one that came with Majo, Diana, and the team. That's what I'm going to pick. I'm going to talk about two things. Number one, in the creation story, when God created man, he gave him dominion. He gave him dominion over everything. You'll find that in the Bible, you'll find that in the Quran, you'll find that everywhere. In every book that we know is a real book that came from God. God gave man dominion over everything. And that means man had to subdue and rule the earth. And I mean it, because that's what the Bible says. Now, guess one thing that really happened. After God had given man the dominion over everything, he was so particular, he took him somewhere and said, you see this tree? Yes, you shall not eat from this tree. That was a direction that was given to Adam. Strictly to Adam, not to Adam and Eve. It was strictly given to who? Let me tell you something interesting. When the devil or Satan, according to the scriptures, when he came to Eve and started tempting Eve, God was watching. God did not scream. God did not say anything. God was silent. When Eve was tempted, God stayed in heaven, was silent. When Eve ate the fruit, God was silent. God did not say anything. When Eve went to Adam and said, Mwami, kanokendi deka woma, nawe wandili deko, God was in heaven. He did not say anything. Until Adam ate. When Adam ate, what happened? God spoke, right? Because instruction was given to Adam. The only time that God spoke was at the time when Adam ate. When God spoke, what did he say? Adam, what have you done? What did Adam? Where are you? Actually asked, where are you? And you know everything that followed after that. When the serpent came, or when Lucifer came, or when Satan came, God was not moved. When Eve was tempted, God was not moved. When Eve ate, God was not moved. When Adam ate, God spoke, because instruction was given to. There are things as a man that cannot be passed on to anyone. What a man brings to the table, Diana, that is so special, is a God-given mandate that was given to him to be a priest of a home. The only time that a home is no longer a home, when a man ceases to be a man in his own home. I don't mind even if you are as short as this table, be the man of the house. To the men that are in this room, one accountability that will not escape includes your wife when you go to heaven. The accountability you will give to God that you will not escape will not only be about your children and what you did. It includes your Wanji. The only reason that's why God cast man was because Adam did not take responsibility. You know that story. He said, this woman. God did not expect that. It was nothing to do with the woman. I gave instruction to you. So own up. Men that have refused to own up, and it's really with this generation, we don't want to own up. So anything that has slipped through our fingers is because we are somehow finding reason to pass it on to someone else. It's about your mother, the mortgage. It's about your auntie. You're somehow finding reason to accuse someone for your failure. It's about someone who did not send you to school. It's about someone who did not do something in your life. That's why you are a failure. You do not have a reason to be a failure. You are a failure because you chose to. To the men in this room, this is a call. Choose not to be a failure. And the choice starts now. It starts when you start to get that feeling, that tingling feeling when you look at that girl and you feel like something is boiling inside of you. Awogirako gago. Nogandi nokulabize munye yange kwetegereze bulungi. I don't need a lens to be sure about what I'm seeing. Are you or are you not? Don't be lied to think that you are wasting her time. You are wasting your own time. Men of this generation, we are lazy. We have so many excuses. We give reasons almost for everything, and it annoys. To the men that are in my life, some of the boys that I work with, some are even on the cameras, I usually tell them, don't give me any excuse for failing. Even if it's in a relationship, you don't have any excuse to fail. You just end it if it's not working. Don't tell me you failed. Masani. You don't tell me those things in tiate. If you fail, at least you give yourself the marks of saying I ended it. It was not working for me. At least you will respect you for that, but a failure, no. So even in your home, if you already walked and you put this kind of thing, let me tell you. I was listening to I was somewhere. Ringi yange neva munegwa, I was at the gym. Nenjiko banga ngamba Hilda huyo mumumpe. So everyone laughed. Everyone laughed. And I had an opportunity to talk to them. I told them, ono. Ensonga laki sijjako mpeta yange. Some of you say your rings are in the heart. Eyo navayo nagana. Eyange yino. Erinya mweriri Hilda. Someone can witness mweriri. And it's not fun that I put on my ring. No. Marriage is commitment. That love that you feel is commitment to someone. That you love them. That you will be with them no matter what. That you accept them against all odds. My first time to see Hilda, she was a young girl. Hey, siwala bikakati. She looks more beautiful now. But she was beautiful then. Hey, she's like a stick. When she stands, you're like, oh, hallelujah. And I remember now on one of our first dates, when I took her to eat, she couldn't even atenga isukwekoza. She did not have appetite. She was the kind who would eat like 2 forks or 3 na amala. I like my food, so I will teach you how to eat. These days when you go to a restaurant, she eats her food and even mine. And I thank God for that. But what I was saying, back to my point, I was listening to someone who made a lot of sense while we were coming here. And he said, when you are single, you are a government of your own. You are the parliament, you're the Minister of Finance, you're the president, you're the board of directors, you're the judge, you're everything. You decide everything for yourself. But you know when you get, and if you must enjoy that, keep enjoying it for as long as you can. Because it's a good space to be. But when you choose to cross and get to the other side, then it ceases to be. It becomes joint. Yes, that you have to talk to someone. I will tell you this, one of my hardest, my real struggles was in the area of money. Most especially asking Hilda whether we should pledge or not. Because I felt it's my money, it's in my pocket, I tell you what. So we would go to places and I'd make pledges. Now, you know when you make emotional pledges, and you know how because my place is really church, I'm a church boy. I love church. You know when a pastor preaches and he touches your heart until you feel like you want to get the car keys and give them to him. You get that place? Have you been to that place before? And at times, I would get to that place where I must give. And I feel like I want to just empty the account and give this, and help this church. I did it once, I did it twice, and she rebuked me. And I love God, she rebuked me. She told me, you know, it's good to give. But before you give, make sure you can give me 3 times more than you're going to give. For you to be able. And I was like, what do you mean by that? She was like, okay. Before you make the decision to give, let's talk about it. I was like, you make a point. I was like, so if you feel you have a lot of money, and that helped me pump a lot of sense into my big ugly head. I was like, okay, makes a lot of sense that it's not just about me. It's not about someone else in my life. We have a family, we have children who need to go to school, and then we have extended families, and we have responsibilities and so many other things that need to be attended to. So I realized, okay, now, I can't leave a single man in a marriage. I am married. And by that, I mean, I can no longer make those decisions all by myself. OJ said he was single for 29 years. I think I beat him. I probably beat him, right? I think I could have beat him. So it is not about you. And once you cross over, there's no way of, living in between. You can't. You've crossed, you've crossed. Once you've crossed, you have crossed. So what you need to know is how to live once you have crossed. Before you cross, learn everything that you need to learn from these seminars, so that by the time you cross, you know what you need to do, and you do it. Number 2, that I want to respond to again from here, from the sessions that I had today. I will respond with a story. There was this couple, old, not very old, but quite old. They had lived together for a long time, but they are very poor, very, very poor. So one day, the woman walked over to the husband and said, honey, I need a comb. Probably some of you have read the story. I need a comb. Now, she had very nice hair. Very nice. I need a comb to be able to tend to my hair. And the husband looked at the wife and said, honey, you see my watch? The strap is broken. I've been looking for money to go and fix the strap, and I can't find it. They all felt sad at that moment. Why? Because the man had a need, the woman had a need, and no one could help the other. So the man went to the trading center, to a particular shop, with his watch and said, sir, I have this watch I'm selling because I don't have money to fix the strap. And the guy at the shop paid him the money for the watch. He received the money and walked over to the shop and bought a comb for the wife. Returning home, he found the wife had cut off all her hair. A beautiful hair. He felt so sad that the wife had done that and was like, why did you do that? And the wife was like, I felt so sad to see you without a watch. So I cut off my hair and sold it to buy for you a strap for your watch. And the man was stranded with a comb, and the woman was stranded. And they both hugged and cried. The communication in that is, love is two-way. It should be reciprocated at any moment. It shouldn't be a struggle. You don't have to ask me to give you 50%. When it gets to that, it is completely wrong. When it gets to a point where you have to discuss and have such heavy conversations, it means the marriage is at the verge of breaking. It should be within you to see your partner happy. Maybe I was brought up wrong. Maybe I could be wrong. But what I know is, once I see need, I will tell you this. This I have said over and over. My God, number one. Number two, my family. And by family, I mean my wife first. And my career ministry maybe that will come last. And I'm so particular when I say my family. And my family to mean my wife. I have told her several times, when you have a need, it's okay, the kids can wait. And sometimes she's like, no. I'm like, I'm serious. If you had not mentioned it, I would have given it attention. We will shop for the kids later. Go to the salon and spoil yourself a little bit. When the kids grow, they will attend to their wives and their husbands. This one only has this lifetime to enjoy with me. Katai muka no. By the way, let me tell you, it's not a very long time to kulimba. Miaka abiri asatu nga tufa, ana atanu nga tugenda mu ggulu. So once you have this kind of opportunity to look into her eyes and scream love and spoil her and hug her and kiss her and smile and laugh and jump around and run around, do it. If you don't, you're cheating yourself. Questions and answers, I guess. I'm done.
Okay, let's give him a round of applause. Thank you so much. Okay, so some of these questions we're actually going to the panelists, but some of the panelists are not around, so we'll just make mention and make sure that we respond to very quickly. Someone was saying, if you married a woman who has money and along the way in the marriage she loses the money, do you divorce? I think this was going to Kyambogo. If you I think they wanted his perspective of that, but any real man, okay? Any real man. The reason as to why someone will actually say without hesitation that I want a woman who also has some money, because the world has become a different thing. Have you seen how expensive things have become? So when someone is really beginning in the career and there is no much to look at, they're clearly thinking, if I'm bringing this much and the other person is bringing that much, maybe we can be able to juggle through and make it. And I perfectly understand where such a person is actually coming from. But the thing is, if you are really looking at money as the only aspect, you are missing so many things. You can marry one who has money and the marriage will never work, because marriage does not work because of money. Okay? And even when you get married to someone and you have your own money and that money actually goes or you lose it, it's upon your partner, if it's a husband, to cover you, to encourage you, to launch out again, to start again, to not just sit down. Because, by the way, there is when you lose your money and if you're with a narcissist and a toxic person and they will just throw a party. They're like, yeah, kalimukawe de abada kewanyi, santi abada yambala obukondo. Katulabe jagenda. You get it? Because then buli progress mukola che mumalamu amanyi obata jagala. So gwo kufirwa yeri esanyulie. But there are those that will even pray for you. There are those who will even tell their bosses, but are you hiring? Can my wife come and volunteer? You get it? Because they really want to make ends meet and they love their partner to work, because some of them know that if you're not working, you lose your esteem, you lose your confidence. But if you're working, you're out there hustling it with the world and you're gaining confidence in return. Okay, that you are telling us women to bring something on the table, but is the table there? Is the table there? Okay, what do I do when I have my money and the man doesn't have? For him, he just wants to enjoy my money. Then you chose him. Now, let's do, because these two are two scenarios, okay? There is you having the money and someone does not have, okay? But again, they are not hardworking, they don't have ambition, they don't have any vision. All they are doing is hitting gym to get a six-pack and loiter around and flirt with other girls. And because you think getting a man is a trophy, you're working so hard and even praying, and you're covering them with the blood of Jesus. And then, this
is what happens. Now, after that, because then, when the relationship is starting, he gets the money from you, you're giving him, because you were so desperate. Never be desperate. Desperacy can make you make mistakes. Because you're like, kamuwe atemva kochi. So you keep giving. He's flirting around, loitering around, and then you get into marriage. Because some of you women think that marriage is the beginning of romance, while in the reality of things, to men, marriage is the end of romance. It's the beginning of reality. So for us, we think, tunakera after honeymoon, banange nja kuvayo nga nze na, musonsomole. Wow, for him he's thinking, unkulina munkwawa, katuloze kubiddako, tusobola okuzimba kati. Tuloze ku investment. You get it? So I want you to be able to think before you get into that relationship. But again, omwami esente wezazi mugweredde konga you're already in the relationship or in the marriage, okay? Esente nezimugwako. Encourage him if he's the man that also has ambition. But there is a man waking up nakutera kechi Nigeria. Namala nakugamba mama Claire tetulina muogo wa kunywera ku chai. Namala nagamba no sinayo airtime wandindekeddeyo airtime owe nja kugula mu bando. Nomala nosanga bando nga zakubidde Fiona ne zikubira ani Grace ne Brenda nani, like seriously. Wano musanga nga sebo yanyiriza akatumbwe olweggulo n'agenda akwaneko ku kyalo. Yeah, those things happen. Like seriously, you will get disgusted and you will get frustrated and you'll even ask yourself, naye akali bakendo okalabira ku mukonda. Those things you saw but you didn't take note of. Or you thought, this is the way it's supposed to be. Now, love is not supposed to be blind. Go into relationships. Look at every trait and every character and turn it like this and turn it like that. Don't say, kakati, if I see a lot, I will not go into a relationship. No. Better to gongo chimanyi ono musezingo gamanti omanyi wachiri tunazukuka fembi. Instead of saying, ate kakati munange sabiraba. You get it? Okay? So, yeah, that's about money. Is it okay to date when you are still financially struggling? Very okay. Like, in this generation, I will tell you, sometimes when someone tells me I'm dating, when someone calls me for a wedding, I don't know babi baba ako, na yenze, I go to church, mba ntunula enti half, because like I've seen so many people get into things that they have not fully understood. I am so glad that God took me a long way, to get me to my promised land. I went through deserts, but in those deserts, I think I learned a lot, I matured a lot, and I got to love myself a little more, and I got to know what to say yes to and what to say no to. But some people just go, with a lot of naivety. So you can date while you are struggling. I've told you stories where we used to buy one mochomo stick because he would tell me, togenda kuddayo eka nga tolidde. Naye akugamba togenda kuddayo eka alinamu 2,000. Over Lukumi. And I remember that a place was even closed. I went there last time I went to Mukono. He would buy one stick and he would eat 2 pieces and I would eat, because he would always prefer to give me more. I would eat 2 pieces of meat. And then he would escort me, but escorting me on foot, because now we don't have boda money. So, because when we had boda money, we would sit on boda together, because there was no luxury of sit on your own boda. Yes, as in sitting on 2 bodas, that was for rich people. You would even miss the warmth. But for us, we would sit on, because by then we were working in Mukono, UCU. So from Mukono, Bishop Stage to Mukono, UCU, we would take a boda together and would, as in it was really, So if you talk about struggle, people have dated or have gotten into people's lives while they are struggling. So struggling is not a bad thing, but do you understand what you're getting yourself into? That's the thing, okay? Talk about men who don't respect women's opinion. They're older, thinking they're much older. Now, the older a man gets, the older an understanding a nice man gets, the more he respects people's opinion. Do you get that? Because it says, talk about men who don't respect women's opinion, thinking they are much older. Because the guys think they are much older, so tolina chongamba. Now that is a very toxic person, okay? That is a very disrespectful person because you can't know it all. But the older a good man gets, the more he listens, the more he takes in, the more he respects other people's opinion. So my friend, you don't have a good one there. That is a bad fruit. About managing men's finances, talk about men who don't tell their women about their financial investments. Still, if you're the same person and you're asking, a man is much older, does not respect your opinion, how is he going to tell you their investments? Because then he does not call for your opinion. He doesn't want your opinion. He thinks you're immature or you're not adding value to him. The only value you're adding is in bed, okay? And this one says that what is the best way to keep working a relationship with someone who has interest in you, but you're not interested in them? Walk away. As in, you're not interested. Nabagambi, our bodies communicate. Let me tell you, when you get to your type, you just feel like things are clicking, like you are speaking the same language, like you were meant for each other. Have you ever watched that Frozen movie? You have watched? Some of you don't have kids, you don't watch cartoon, but some of us watch cartoon. It's our daily life. So you remember, and they say, we finish each other's. And the other one says sandwiches. And like that love feels like it's magical. My friend, every one of us should fall in love in this lifetime. So my friend, if you're not interested in someone, I will tell you for a fact, there is a time I asked myself, I think, I think, and then the next day, I was the one who talked myself out of it, and I was like, Hilda, don't be stupid. If you don't love, you will never love. Hey, coach, how best can someone confess to a man they are not ready for a relationship? Just tell them, I'm not ready for a relationship. Without causing misunderstanding, currently I have about 5 men asking me out for a relationship, but I am not ready yet to be in a relationship with any. Still, because I feel heartbroken from the previous relationship, but they still insist and I don't want to be a player, kindly advise. None of the 5 men is yours. None of them. Clearly, you loved your ex and you are still in love with your ex. So do not waste anyone's time. Ghost them if you must. Yeah, because sometimes the people, the language they understand, some men think if you say no, you will eventually say yes. So they keep chasing. But while they keep chasing, you feel you are nagged. You even feel disgusted. So unless you are getting benefits from them, all the 5, so now you want to turn them down nicely so that next time you tell them to give you a loan of $1 million, they can give you a loan of $1 million. Yeah, because why else would you care about how you actually end those relationships? So, respect them enough to tell them that you don't love them. By the time you allow 5 of them, okay, to be around you, that means you're not open for dating right now. So close shop. Otekeko na akapande. Closed. You say no fishing. Okay? What would you do if your loaded women and her family suddenly became poor in the middle of the relationship? Hey, you love her, so her family became poor. How is it your concern? Because let me tell you, because as women, by the way, even the men, we must all be gatekeepers for our partners to our sides. I must be a gatekeeper to my husband, to my side. Because sometimes my side will have demands, and sometimes when they come through me, I sieve what demands actually get to my husband. Not every demand is going to get to my husband. You get it? So I'm going to sieve and say, ngenda be releasing ampola. Lero ngambe waliyo chino, lili ngambe, instead of saying banange. Ate nephew ya fude, ate gundi tugenda kuza, ate gundi bakola chino, hey! So even him on his side, he's a gatekeeper because he will know. And mostly men will be actually gatekeepers of words, not of even financial. Because again, you must extend help to extended families, but for them they are gatekeepers of words. Thank you so much. One thing I promise you, your life will never be the same. it will never be the same. There are some rooms you go to, and God destined that you will go and get that energy, and maybe that will push you ahead further than you ever thought. And I believe that this has been one of those sessions.
Spirit TV, a place for you.